Today on How Do You Hustle, we have Ayebatonye on the show. She's a DJ and a artist, as well as a creative director for A Regular Fit. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Tuning in from Gadigal country. So I want to pay my respects to elders, past and present, and acknowledge I'm on stolen land. But I am good. I feel like recovering after a big work week, but it's been an exciting time. So I can't complain.
I've followed you for ages, and I saw on the weekend, I think it was maybe yesterday, you posted like all of your sets, and I
Yeah.
had secondhand anxiety just seeing that. So what, like, walk us
Yeah.
through it. Like, I guess you're coming in hot out of lockdown, that's for sure. So what have you been up to?
Oh, what have I been up to? I feel like uh, a lot of things. So this past weekend, I played 3 different shows. The one on Sunday, I run a night called Irregular Tit Social as part of Irregular Fit. We're like in collaboration with a bit of Tit. So we have some really lovely emerging and more established like queer artists of color come through across a spectrum of genres. It's really lovely having like live music and DJs. And then I kind of do like sneaky sets in between just because I always love playing music. Whenever I can, I'm always happy to play. Then on Saturday, I DJ'd at an event with Dennis Salter and Melody, which was at Greenwood, which was by Untitled Group. And then I played a show with Sherelle for Astral People on Friday. And prior to that, I was in like Melbourne for a week, doing some stuff with resident advisors, some workshops, but then also DJing at Pitch.
Amazing.
So it's been a wild last 2 weeks. Like it feels surreal, like especially after being in lockdown and with all the COVID stuff. And
Brutally.
like I'm not gonna lie, like a bit of there's definitely like I can relate to the secondhand anxiety because I feel it firsthand.
Yeah.
So going
Totally.
from just living really slow and slowing everything down, and then all of a sudden just having things happening all the time. Like it definitely just feels super surreal.
It definitely went from 0 to 100, I feel, as well. But that's amazing. And it must be so nice to be back into it. Like, can you just explain the feeling of like going back and doing it for the first time after all these lockdowns? Like, what was that feeling like?
Like I feel like there was a lot of conflicting feelings. Like it was so exciting and so lovely to be amidst people, like-minded people that love music and love dancing, but then also, like not being used to playing to crowds and having to readjust my mindset to playing to a crowd versus making a mix online or just, it's just been an interesting adjustment. But I've been talking to people and I feel like everyone's sort of in the same boat, going from being homebodies by force to now sudden being back out there and doing it all again.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. It sounds like you're throwing yourself straight back into it, which is the only way, really.
Gotta go through it, over it or under it. Yeah.
Definitely. So I guess going back to that, like your comment on being a bit of a homebody during lockdown. So I remember, I guess I started following you probably like early in the lockdowns. But one of my friends was sharing your content and you somehow like sort of fell into this health advisory role at one point, not literally, but I remember at one point you were doing your posts and you were doing DJ sets and like had the numbers in the background. And I thought like it was such a good way to kind of get that message out there quickly, in a way that was engaging for young people on social media, which is often the only way they were getting their information during that time, especially like a very disengaged kind of audience who had really just had fatigue of seeing just all of those numbers every day. But what kind of gave you the idea of doing that? And like, how crazy was that experience?
Yeah, it was a wild time. Like the series was called Blends for the People. I started doing it. So at the time I was working, I've left now, but I was working for like in a state government role. And so a lot of the work that we were doing was like, I did community engagement. That's kind of my corporate background, but also like community organized, community oriented background. And just having a quite a strong and deep understanding because of my job about the impact of COVID, because we were doing COVID tracking and stuff, it made me really concerned about the fact that people weren't really looking at the numbers. And like you said, like, I totally get why people were fatigued. It was so much, it was overwhelming. I kind of developed this weird thing where I would just always look at the numbers. Like, I just couldn't help myself. Yeah, really caught up in it. And so I just felt like, I understand music is a great way, like as a DJ, I have a strong understanding that music is a great way to bring people together, but also to relay messages. And so I thought, why don't I just use music that people like before COVID, like BC times, and mix it into stuff that I like and see if people sort of engage with the numbers that way. So at least they're across what's happening. But it was also like really cathartic for me to do as well, like to sort of feel like I had to get up and I'm doing this thing, gave me a bit of like purpose each morning when it felt like everything had just been thrown out of the water, like all of our routine, whatever that was, and normal, it was just gone. So it was nice to have that to like actually output as well.
Yeah. And I think like during that time, it was, the only community. I was in Melbourne, so you were in Sydney. I think the only community we had was sort of that online community. So something like that just made you smile a little bit. Like, I think your mixes were so fun, and you're dancing in the colorful outfits. Like, it just gave you that kind of check-in each day that just, I guess, showed you that there's, other people out there in the same boat. We're all in this experience together at the same time. So I thought that was really nice.